probably never seen them before. But that's okay, you don't know them. Here's a great chance to meet some people. Let's meet our co-host. You might recognize him from TV shows like The Tonight Show, hosted by Jimmy Fallon, or That's My Jam on NBC. Here he is, Jimmy Fallon.
Welcome to the Universal Studio Tour. I'm Jimmy Fallon. I'll be making sure that you get through this experience in one piece. You've got the very best guy.
Rayon.
And the greatest driver.
Eris.
They're the best. I love them. Even though
Rayon.
owes me $5. I know you guys are excited to get on the tour, but first, a few safety rules.
Thanks, Jimmy. That's right. There's a few rules we should all follow whilst on the tour. First, if you have any emergencies or require any assistance, be it a medical emergency, you drop an item of value off the side of the tram, or you have any audio or video issues, reach up and pull on the red cord that runs along the center of the ceiling of the tram, and I will be back to assist you as soon as it is safe to do so. Otherwise, during the entire tour, please sit down and remain seated, keeping heads, arms, and legs inside the vehicle for your safety. The studio is private property, so if at any point during the tour you drop your phone or you really need to use the restroom, pull on the red cord and I will assist you, but to remain seated and inside the tram at all times. What? No, please, no smoking of any kind during the tour. And be prepared, the tour features loud sound effects, fire effects, sudden tram movements, and many water effects. You will want to have your cameras out and ready for all the photo opportunities we have for you, but make sure to keep them away from the water so they don't get wet. And for your safety and the safety of those around you, please do not use selfie sticks while on the tour. We're taking you into the studio through the Universal movie timeline. On either side of the tram, a small sampling of the over 8,000 movies we've made here in our over 100 years of filmmaking history. Carl Laemmle founded our studio in 1912 and moved in here March 15, 1915. And we've been here ever since, making movies, TV shows, building our own theme park in our own entire city. We are actually located in our own incorporated city called Universal City, California. We're making our way down to the first section of the studio known as the front lot. This is where most of our sound stages are located. And our sound stages are where most of our filming takes place. The first soundstage is coming up at the bottom of the hill in front of us there. That is Soundstage 12, one of the largest and oldest in the studio. You'll see the logo for The Voice painted on the corner of the building. The Voice filmed in there for over a decade, but right now there's so much construction happening around the soundstage that it's being used as a construction mill. But being one of the oldest, it's been home to incredible productions. For example, Soundstage 12 was Dr. Frankenstein's lab, Dracula's castle, Scarface's mansion. All of these scenes on your screens were filmed inside of Soundstage 12, and you can see it's large enough in there that we can build sets that look like they are outside, like Whoville from How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and this Hawaiian resort from the movie Couples Retreat, which was built inside of the soundstage with the pool and everything. You can also see what it looks like when it doesn't have a set inside of it. Pretty much a giant empty warehouse-like space where we can control any sort of lighting effect, weather effects, sound, and build anything you can imagine. And this is what most of our sound stages look like. They just vary in size and shape a little bit. And when a production moves into them, this is what they get. And they're able to create everything they need inside of them. On the left-hand side here, we're passing by sound stages 7, 8, and then 14 when we round the corner. These three are used for Bel Air. Bel Air is a darker, more dramatic retelling of the sitcom from the 90s, The Fresh Prince of Bel Air. They're getting ready to start filming season 3 of the show, and it airs exclusively on Peacock, our new streaming platform. To tell you a bit more about the show, 2 of the stars.
Can you just grab me water when you get
So what is you put egg on the cheese? You put cheese on the eggs, on the cheese.
That's right. Whoa, how many seats do you think are in there?
No, it's gotta be a lot.
Yeah, you could probably fit the whole Bel Air cast and crew in there. We gotta get one of these to make sure. And for sure.
You're lucky for y'all. The base on the natural reefs right here on Universal Lot.
Right. Some of Bel Air's most pivotal scenes have been filmed right here. Jabari, what have been your most memorable moments?
There's so many to choose from. You know, I remember before you're setting the world first enters, at that moment his life changes forever. And what you?
Well, ooh. The Bel Air Academy gym set is here too, and I'm reading there from sitting at cold ice bath for hours. And now I'm ready. Still can't feel my toes. No, but seriously, my favorite part of this lot is the tons of all together from here. Wardrobe, makeup, set design, props, and transportation. Oh, yes. Yo, Transmo's the best. And they have the smoothest garage for us to play with. Actually, speaking of, we're gonna get a ride on this. We better go talk to Transmo now and let these people get back to the hotel.
Yeah, that sounds good, dude. It's going to to drive.
On the right-hand side, we're driving by sound stages 16, 17, 18, and 19. These four were recently used for the Netflix show Never Have I Ever, created by Mindy Kaling, starring by Trey Ramakrishnan. They just finished filming the fourth and final season, which is already up on Netflix. Right now, two of these are used for Loot, starring Maya Rudolph, and the other two for the new show Ted, based off the movies Ted and Ted 2, with the animated teddy bear played by Seth MacFarlane. His new show is going to be a prequel to the movies and will be exclusively on Peacock. Speaking of Ted, he's here on our left. All the buildings behind him used to be permanent dressing rooms to the stars back in the golden era of film. But today, they've all been turned into production offices. For example, this is where we house Illumination Entertainment, the company that brought you Despicable Me, The Minions, The Secret Life of Pets, Sing, and the Super Mario Brothers movie. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has his offices right here for his production company 7 Bucks Entertainment. They've made things like the TV show Young Rock and the movie Black Adam with DC Comics. Next to his office, Jordan Peele's offices for Monkey Paw Productions. They've made movies like Us, Gnome, and Wendell and Wild. Coming up, Mark Platt Productions. He's currently working on the film adaptation to the musical Wicked, which will star Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba and Ariana Grande as Glinda. And if you know the musical, you'll recognize his office, Building 5162, has the logo for Wicked painted on a sphere next to the door. He's also produced movies like Legally Blonde, La La Land, and Dear Evan Hansen, starring his son, Ben Platt. Building 5195 used to be Alfred Hitchcock's office. You can see his logo still painted on the wall next to the door. He was known as the master of suspense for his work directing movies like Psycho, Vertigo, and The Birds. That building is now home to the De Laurentiis company, and they've made a lot of the Hannibal Lecter movies like Red Dragon, Hannibal Rising, the TV show Hannibal, and they also made Firestarter, both the original one with Drew Barrymore and the newer one with Zac Efron. Sound stages 25 and 26 here on the left have space for live audiences. They've been used for shows like America's Got Talent, World of Dance, and the Will and Grace reboot. Right now, they're home to Lopez vs. Lopez, the new sitcom starring George Lopez and his daughter Maya Lopez that has a live studio audience as well. With this, we're in our back lot. And here in the back lot, we like to say the world is just around the corner. Out here is where we film the big stuff, exterior scenes on a very large scale. This first area is known as the Metro sets, and these are used to recreate large cities. New York, Chicago, Boston, LA, or even European cities like London and Paris. The first area we're going to fully see is known as Brownstone Street. It's coming up on the right. It's a residential lot that's appeared in countless productions. You'll recognize it on your screens in this scene from Bruce Almighty starring Jim Carrey.
Raise the door!
You can see the same sets in movies like Gone Girl, Changeling, The Sting, and Home Alone 2. If you've seen Home Alone 2 starring Macaulay Culkin, Kevin throws bricks at the bandits from the rooftop right here. It's also where he sets up the trap with the rope covered in oil that he later sets on fire. Now we're entering Courthouse Square. That's what we call this area in the studio, but you might recognize it better if I called it Hill Valley from the movie Back to the Future. The clock tower looks a lot different today. Doesn't look the same way it did in the movie. That's because Back to the Future was so successful and so memorable, we had to completely remodel and redesign this area so that we could continue using the same area in other movies and TV shows without having audiences recognizing it instantly as Hill Valley from Back to the Future. But we did save the clock tower. It's still standing right there. We only covered it up with that new City Hall, which was built for the later seasons of Ghost Whisperer. But you can see the doors are open today, and through the doors, you can still see the original pillars that used to be the front of the of the clock tower, and the big entrance to the clock tower. It's still all right there. This area was recently Sherman Oaks in the TV show Never Have I Ever. It was the town of Rutherford Falls in Rutherford Falls with Ed Helms and Jenna Schmieding, and they just finished filming a new movie here called Max Scene, which is going to be a sequel to the movies Pearl and X, starring Mia Goth from the A24 production company. Coming up the Big Apple, on the left-hand side corner there, you see a replica of the original Macy's store that sits on 34th Street in the real New York City. Broadway theaters on either side. Here, I'll leave you with our co-host, Jimmy Fallon.
Everyone, welcome to New York. I start right here in New York on Saturday night. This is actually my old neighborhood. We'll take the look back there. An old word. Tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey, buddy. How's it going? Remember me? Just gotta love New York City. Okay, it's cool, guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you can make it here on the Universal Metro.
These sets have been used for incredible productions, movies like Back to the Future, Bruce Almighty, Captain America, The First Avenger, The Amazing Spider-Man, the 7th, 8th, and 9th Fast and the Furious movies, Transformers, The Forever Purge, TV shows like Parental, How I Met Your Mother, Marvel's Agent Carter, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., American Ninja Warrior, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Mr. Mayor, Good Girls, The Good Place. The list just goes on and on and on and on forever. So a lot of incredible directors have worked here, like Ron Howard, Steven Spielberg, Michael Bay, and the incomparable Peter Jackson, director of the 2005 version of the movie King Kong.
It's the original King Kong. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up on the adventure. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from prehistoric times.
We are now approaching Skull Island. As we make our way in, I'd like to remind you to please remain seated at all times, keeping heads, arms, and legs inside the vehicle. If you are planning on taking any pictures or video in here, I highly recommend you turn off the flash on your cameras. We do not want to scare any of the potentially dangerous creatures that live here. You can get your 3D glasses ready and welcome to Skull Island.